be getting much more money from the government to do what it has to do.
Well, Jim, the nature and the size of the defense budget, that is a policy decision for the government.
Look at this guy. And look at the argument and how it's framed. Okay? And again, think about how he almost said January 6th. We're going to bring it back. Okay? Reading off a script, we should just be giving you money. My God.
Thank you for coming on, Jim. Jim, it's a confusing time because we don't understand about the budget. We know that we need Lockheed Martin more than ever. But I guess what many of us commonsensically are trying to figure out is why shouldn't Congress be actually spending a huge amount of money in defense, given the fact that everything's kind of changed in the last year, and therefore,
Now he's going to correct himself. He's looking at his talking points. It should scare you or concern you that Jim Cramer is talking about Lockheed Martin in the same breath as Hamas, Ukraine, Russia, and he wants to say January 6th.
Get a sense that Lockheed Martin should be getting much more money from the government to do what it has to do.
Well, Jim, the nature and the size of the defense budget, that is a policy decision for the government, Congress, and the administration to make. Whatever the budget is, we're going to do whatever we can to advance deterrence and drive capability through to our armed forces to help prevent future armed conflict, especially anything that might involve the United States itself.
Okay, so tell me how it does work. You have hired so many veterans. You've probably got... You go into a room with the people who work at your company. I bet you a lot of them say, I wish we were doing this. I wish we were doing that. We should be doing this. Are you yourself, because you are a vet, offering advice to people that maybe perhaps the kind of war that we might have to fight is different from the kind that maybe their parents fought?
Everything is different. I have talking points. See, this is leading up to the track trace database, open surveillance gulag, and into social credit score and the domestic stuff. That's what this is really about, okay? And I cannot emphasize that enough. That's the reality of what they're talking about here, okay? And it's worrisome. You know, not the warrior. So forever wars again. And it's not, because now the drones are normalized. The robots are in full effect. And the digital stuff is what they want. They want full access, okay, to all encryption. They want to be the kings of encryption.
It's going to be vastly different, Jim. And what we're trying to do at our company is be a bit of a pathfinder to drive 21st century digital technologies into our armed forces and national defense, really to convince any potential adversary that it really isn't worth taking a measure, an attack, any kind of effort, an armed conflict against the United States or our allies. But we really do have to bring and marshal, if you will, all of American industry together to work on this. We've got alliances with NVIDIA, Microsoft, Intel, and others to actually bring that digital technology more quickly into the defense enterprise, because we want to prevent a future war, because if it happens, it'll be devastating and it will be very different.
But Jim, wouldn't some potential adversaries say, you know what, they have knocked their arsenal down to help Ukraine, and then further down to help Israel? And
so let's just stop, because, you know, Kramer's getting into ridiculous talking points. NVIDIA. What do you think runs this show? It's NVIDIA. NVIDIA graphics cards. Microsoft. They want back doors. They want front doors. They want a public-private partnership. Okay? They want control of the narrative, a.k.a. the AI, which is just a programmable narrative. That's really all AI means at this point, a programmable narrative. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to keep on Cramer and Lockheed Martin. I mean, look at that guy. Again, I hate doing the visual things, but the guy looks like a wax robot creep show for war. I'm just saying. We'll be back after this.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. it won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. Act swiftly, 833-287-2465.
Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. If you're watching over on YouTube, I apologize. I had it on private. I didn't even realize it. It was just one of the settings I missed this morning. Shouldn't have done that. But you know what? YouTube is really the dying platform for this. And if you are watching on YouTube right now, I do want to remind you, second hour, RVMRumble.com, RVMRumble.com. It's that deep dive into the Dark Overlord. Was there a gun on 175? Did somebody get shot? Were these weapons placed on the planes beforehand? Why was James Woods giving testimony and in these documents? Why were these lists of parts of the investigation of the 9/11 Commission never public? And so much more. And then, who was the Dark Overlord really? And what happened when they actually got picked up? Again, anybody has any new stuff on the Dark Overlord story that I did not cover, send it my way. Or maybe a document. I'm sure there's documents in there that were extremely meaningful that I just didn't get. Now, Lockheed Martin. Lockheed is for lovers. I'm going to say it 36 times in this first hour. You just saw this whole digital thing. Then you saw Kramer immediately, Hamas, Ukraine. He's talking about it's a good time to be invested in the Defense Department. I am harping on this now because you're seeing it more and more everywhere, and it's being normalized as though, oh, well, just another war. These are not just another wars. Like you said, it's going to be different than anything you could imagine. They want digital back doors. So that's why I'm going to move on, because we are limited, because that Dark Overlord piece is a bit long. So it's going to be an extremely short segment in that final segment of the hour to go to that so we can fit it all in. Thomas Massey is, again, somebody we play a lot here because he's pro-freedom and he sees the agenda and he's willing to step up to the plate for people like you and me, especially in regards to insanity like, I don't know, automated kill switches built into your car, which is already happening. Okay, so I'm going to let Massey take it away here.
My third amendment, I saved the best for last. I know you'll all be excited about this.
Come on.
We call it the Kill Switch Amendment. Section 24-220 of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act requires all newly manufactured vehicles to be equipped with technology to monitor your performance while driving and to prevent vehicle operation if the car so determines that you are not doing a very good job of driving. And I'm a little bit worried about this. My own car has some technology in it that tells me I need to get some coffee or something every now and then. And I mean, I think it's a nice feature to have, but allowing the car to disable itself, I think, is troublesome. And this, we don't have a lot of time. This is supposed to be implemented by 2026. And I don't know about you all, but I would like to know when I put my family in the car and I'm taking a trip somewhere, the car is not going to disqualify me. You know, I'll trust a court, or and then states, 31 states already have like a breathalyzer technology that's already incorporated into their laws. Like if you are a known offender, a DUI offender, they can force these to be installed in your car to make sure that you're qualified to drive, at least from a blood alcohol content qualified to drive. Not everybody is, but we don't need this federally. We don't need it automated. I think there's privacy concerns. In order for this technology to work, you actually need to know where the car is to know if the driver's doing a good job on that particular road. And so this kill switch amendment would just defund implementation of Section 24220 so that you can know your car's not going to shut you down in the middle of the road. And I thank you, urge consideration of these amendments by our committee, and I yield back.
Think about that. All of a sudden, you're just driving down. You might be in the middle of nowhere. Okay, first of all, let's get outside of just the government stuff. The track trace database, corporate takeover, right? And the limitation of your movement and all that spooky stuff. Let's go into, it's not that, it's somebody that is a nefarious hacker. You have angered somebody. I mean, these things are digital. They're digital. And everything is built with Wi-Fi or some kind of wireless communication system. How else could that decision be made? Now, there is going to be internal computers, et cetera, but just like he said, there has to be some kind of a geolocator. Okay, so just in that regard alone, how about a big no thanks? How about a I don't think so? No bueno. And Massey, again, one of the only people I see out there that's actually concerned about this stuff. Now, while that's happening, okay, and they try to put Donald Trump in prison, okay, we're going to get to that in a moment. What's the World Health Organization putting out on their Twitter feed? The sun is bad. The sun is bad for human beings. Now, look, I know people, they're talking about skin cancer, and they're basically trying to tell you that people that work outside are oppressed. They're oppressed. Now, look, would it be my choice to be out in a field laboring hour after hour in the hot sunlight? No. That's why I chose this. However, the idea that the sun is the enemy and that the sun is really, in most cases, not a super life force on the planet is ridiculous. And really what they're trying to do is get ready for that automation as well. The robots are coming. Not going to need so many people outside anymore. Okay? So this is not a parody. This is the latest from the World Health Organization. Exposure to sunlight at work can kill you. 1.6 billion people of working age were exposed to solar ultraviolet radiation while working outdoors. Oh my goodness. I mean, think about how ridiculous that is. And I apologize about the volume. You know, Massey was turned all the way up. Sorry you had to get that piano chatter so high. I mean, the life force on Earth, they're exposed to harmful solar ultraviolet radiation. Let's just bring it back. It can kill you. And you got the guy out in the field. Oh boy, I'm a construction worker. Oh, I can barely see that sun. I mean, this person looks like they are very in danger of melanoma with all those clothes on. You can't make this stuff up. This is what they put out. Working under the sun causes 1 in 3 deaths. Let's make sure that you can see the deaths. Come on now. Is that going to give it to you? Yes. 1 in 3 deaths. That's not real. Does anybody think that number is real? Come on, man. From non-melanoma skin cancers. Oh no. Oh no. It's time to avoid the sun. These people are trying to, the World Health Organization, to keep you away from the life force of the plant, a great source of vitamin D. Boy, that was controversial to talk about. It's time to avoid the sun. We're not going to plant trees anymore. I mean, I've lived to see it. It is the complete and total inversion of every natural law I was taught as a child. It's time to avoid the sun. The SunSmart Global UV app. And you know what is good? Your smartphone. That's what's good. My God. Oh, stay out of intense sun, especially during the midday. Use sun protection. First of all, there's a lot of evidence out there currently, and we'll do that one live. Does what is it? Sun lotion. Let's just type that. Sun lotion cause cancer. Does it? And I'm not saying it does. Can sunscreen cause cancer? Now, look at that. Oh, exposure to chemical. Oh, make sure to wear it though. Oh, wow. They're withdrawing products. Harvard Health. Weird. But that's the protection. And they show you a nice little shirt, too. A little shirt. You're going to wear a shirt. I mean, that woman was wearing, she had a shirt and a helmet on. She was very diverse. There's a little sun in her eye, though. It's time to stay out of the sun. Good God. Good God. And get screened regularly for skin cancer. Boy, they want you screened for everything for some reason. What about all the misdiagnoses out there? That's real. Is that not an expert thing to say? I mean, there it is. Health for all. World Health Organization with their little snaky snake around their globy globe. Little snaky snake. Snakels. Little snickering snakels right there. Sometimes it's so beyond parody, so beyond words. When we come back, we're going to do the Chris Hayes thing. We're going to talk Trump. And you know what? I think, we got a little over a minute. Let's let Tucker tell you what's up. Because I actually agree with the Tuckins here. And I agree with what Glenn Greenwald says here. And this is what the main issue is with all these Trump cases.
At this judicial system, there's nothing that Trump did that feels like a traditional crime. It's not rape, it's not murder, it's not embezzlement, it's not bribery. There are these very kind of technocratic and obscure crimes he's accused of having committed. And I just don't think that most Americans think that the former president should be imprisoned for anything like that. So if I were a betting man, I think the odds look pretty good for Trump.
I think you're right. I've never sent money to a politician, but if Trump is convicted, I'm sending him the max. I think a lot of people feel that way, just as a middle figure. Glenn Greenwald.
So I don't think things look good for Trump. I mean, first of all, in this case that his daughter's testifying in today, and again, Democrats somehow winning elections, because everybody loves these Democratic policies, right? You send the money away. I'm worried that they're going to try to disqualify him from the ballot after a conviction on the primary ticket. We've got 5 people coming up tonight that have qualified for the debate. This is, I believe, an NBC debate. And boy, we're going to get some good NBC Chris Hayes stuff in a moment. Chris Christie's still on stage. That's totally unpopular, unelectable, to spout what? Establishment talking points. Pence has stepped down. Tim Scott, pretty much there to do the same thing and, try to also play some of the identity politics card, but just mainline, terrible. Lockheed Is For Lovers politician. I mean, Nikki Haley, look at that face. That's the real deal. I mean, Lockheed is for DeSantis and Haley. The only one I think that would question some Lockheed might be Vivek Ramaswamy. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back after this word from our sponsor. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
All right, folks, we are back. And remember, second hour living at rvmrumble.com. And it is the second part of the Dark Overlord breakdown compilation. Did it last week, doing it this week with the 175. Somebody possibly shot on 175. Names are named in that document, too. Something that's really never been discussed, never been followed up on 20 plus years later. Something I find extremely interesting. All right. We are going to go to this Chris Hayes, who looks, acts, and sounds ridiculous, whose talking points are ridiculous. Just can't wait. I mean, these people are salivating for Trump in prison. Here we go.
All right, tomorrow, Ivanka Trump, former senior White House official, which is sort of still funny to say, and eldest daughter of Donald Trump is...
See, it's funny to say. I mean, he looks like a non-threatening, like, side character that gets, I don't know, a dozen lines in a 90-minute comedy. He's just kind of there, and nobody would take him seriously. Like, it's unbelievable. It's kind of funny to say, no matter what you think about Trump and his family, they've been around success. They've been around business. They know how to make things happen. Having his daughter on the team as an advisor, I don't think was a bad thing at all. In fact, look, I often complain about nepotism, and I should, because it's very, very detrimental when you're trying to have an actual meritocracy, right? But certainly in the case of Trump, where you saw so many of the people that he brought in were totally terrible. And I'll say this, his daughter's husband, probably among them, the Kushner. Pompeo, terrible. Okay. Barr, terrible. Bolton, terrible. Mattis, terrible. Liddell, terrible. McMaster, terrible. You want at least somebody you can trust on that level around you. And I would think you want that viewpoint. The problem is that, I'm sure he loves his daughter and he feels like Jared Kushner is absolutely going to take care of her. Kushner doesn't necessarily have Trump's best interests at heart either. Just throwing that out there. But let's get back to Hayes.
Expected to testify in the New York Attorney General's $250 million lawsuit against her daddy and the Trump organization.
Her daddy.
She's going to have a tough act to follow after her father's preposterous performance on the stand yesterday, including one incident that led the judge to tell Trump's lawyer, quote, "I would beseech you to control him if you can. If you can't, I will. I will excuse him and draw every negative inference that I can. Do you understand that?"
This isn't a jury trial, all right? This is a show trial where they put an arrogant POS authoritarian out there to perp walk a former president for a non-crime while he was a businessman. That's what's happening here. And if he dares speaks out, things like that are said. And this guy, Chris Hayes, is super gleeful about it. He loves it. He's like, the judge is making the sole decisions in these cases. I mean, he's so happy about it. He's unbelievably, it's sickening.
And there were also more substantive moments when Trump admitted he had signed a document making representations about his financial situation, quote, in order to induce lender to accept this guarantee and to enter into the credit agreement.
The idea that I'm talking about a nothing burger. He admitted he signed it so that he could get the loan. Let me repeat what that means in normal speak. He said he signed it so he could get the loan so that the lenders would accept the terms and give him the loan. No shit. I mean, induce. Like, are you kidding me? This trial is a farce, everybody.
MSNBC legal analyst Katie Fang points out that this, quote, a critical admission by Trump that he admits that the intent in making these financial representations was to convince lenders to loan money. But ultimately, I think we've reached a phase of this trial where it can best be compared to the infamous Chicago 7 trial in 1969, where the anti-war protesters on trial decided to turn the whole thing into a circus and, put the system on trial. Basically,
So now, and this is just, again, why? I mean, we're not even, we're a little over a minute deep in this piece. And I'm an anti-war guy. And they put the system on trial to compare Trump to these guys in a negative connotation should tell you what war hawks these people are, right? Like they just tried to put those anti-war protesters in a negative light for daring to expose the system then and its corruption. And so, I'd wear that as a badge of honor, Chris. You whack job.
The turn that Donald Trump and his attorneys have made here, even at the risk of enraging the judge who will be the lone one deciding Trump's culpability in this case.
The lone one deciding, because it's not a real trial. And again, he's gleeful. He's happy. He can't get enough of it. He loves this as the country now.
More importantly, every judge who has a Trump trial coming up should be watching this because it looks like a dress rehearsal to polarize opinion about the legitimacy of the proceedings themselves rather than try to win the case within the confines of the court.
You can't win a case in the confines of a rigged court. Okay? That's the point, Chris. There's no jury there. Okay, there's no jury trial to represent. And there's one guy who has proven himself a TDS, Trump derangement syndrome authoritarian over and over and over and over again. It's not hard. You can see it. So why would you can't win that case. The lawyers know you can't win that case. The guy has been what? He's been gagged twice. He can't even talk about the fact that he wants a jury trial, Chris. And this guy is just, he gets a great payday. He's got some good makeup, huh? Pretty nice set and lighting there, Chris. Good for you, huh? Way to sell out for whatever you believe in, which is nothing. Which apparently is bootlicking and boot stomping, because Lockheed Martin is for lovers.
MSNBC legal analyst Lisa Rubin was in the courtroom for yesterday's performance, and she joins me now. Hey. Does that scam to you that there is a tactical decision? There's different ways to look at this. One is, you can't restrain Trump and he doesn't have any self-control. I don't quite buy that. The other is, basically, this is the tactic now, is like trying to sort of bait the judge into saying something that they could use for appeal and trying to sort of convert.
To bait the judge into something to use for appeal. How about the ruling to take the case? This is a non-case. It's not real. This is insane right now. Insane. First of all, you got to hope that the appellate court is going to be there, at least for these civil trials, because they're outlandish. But when we get to the criminal court cases, I don't know if it's going to matter. I mean, the whole point is to keep him out of office, right? And I'm sorry, in another 4 years after this, he's not running again. And if we don't somehow, some way, legitimately find a way to get voting back to one person, one vote, real audits, no machines, no fractional voting, no backdoor rooms. No, no, and no. And I don't see us doing that. So right now, it's a quick spiral downhill, if you're asking me. That's what I'm seeing here. A quick spiral downhill where guys like Chris Hayes just boast and brag about how corrupt the system is and how we can't do anything about it. I just can't imagine watching this and being okay with the types of things that he's promoting as positive. But there must be people out there, not a lot. MSNBC doesn't do the big ratings, but someone's watching this crap.
This into kind of a polarized prism of like, this judge is out to get me, and that's really what they're up to.
I think it can be both. I think there are moments where Trump showed he can be disciplined, and partially he showed that when he started to echo things that I know his lawyers have told him, right? When he talked about what you can expect during the rest of this trial, which witnesses are going to come, which important bankers will be there, and which expert witnesses, or he tried to pull out of his pocket somewhat preposterously the language of the disclaimer statement that appeared on each of his statements of financial condition. He's clearly fluent in some of what's going on in this case. And
clearly fluent of some of what's going on. The guy, first of all, he's dealing with multiple cases, one of which is an espionage charge they like to put him in prison for the rest of his life for. Yeah, he's fluent in it. As he runs for president, as he refuses to take part in the debates, which, I mean, at this point, I don't know. Is it a smart move? Really, the only person up there saying anything decent and someone who I think may be genuine would be Vivek Ramaswamy. And that's it. I mean, obviously, everybody else is, a talking head, an establishment puppet. They're trying to push Haley. They're still trying to push DeSantis. They'd love to double down on that ticket of losers. Haley, DeSantis, Haley. Doesn't matter. Come on, vote for the first powerful woman president. She checks identity politics boxes. I don't know, Jason. A little too white. It's a little too white for America these days. Possibly. Possibly, because we live in a dark cartoon of many things. I do want to have one heartwarming story here. Fighting back. Because I think it's important that we realize that we're kind of in this situation almost on a daily basis. People are rolling up and robbing us and putting our lives at risk. And these guys were, I guess, gambling in a card game. I guess there were two more crooks here, but the one guy has a gun. Okay. And luckily, there nothing crazy happens. But they come in to rob these guys. They want to take everything. These guys got their hands up. And some dude's putting a gun in their face. The guy's like, hey, man, get that gun out of my face. Okay? Now, at the end of the day, fight or flight. Because if you just give up, then, you're not in control at all. None of us are in full control. That's it. And all those guys survived, and 2 of the 4 have already been arrested. I'm just saying. We got to defend ourselves. So, here's the deal. Second hour is over at rvmrumble.com. I'm going to run a couple commercials. I'm going to come back, okay? Just talk for a minute or two, set this up, and then we're going to go over just to RVM Rumble for the Dark Overlord, Flight 175. Again, James Woods beyond the testimony in the documents, in the original things. Other names being named, other investigation parts that were never discussed in the 9/11 Commission. So we will be back briefly after this word from our sponsor.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
thanks, America! My third amendment, I saved the best for last.
If you're like me and you want to be prepared for the unexpected,
that's where the Wellness Company's emergency medical kit comes
over
in.
40% of Americans say that they would avoid a doctor or a hospital unless it was a catastrophic situation.
Medical emergency kits with...
The kit contains 8 potentially life-saving medications for you to keep on hand in the event of natural disasters, supply chain shortages, medical emergencies, or like an apocalyptic situation. These are the actual medications that you would need in the event of certain situations. So they've got emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics.
RVMRumble.com, RVMRumble.com, RVMRumble.com. If you don't know about the Dark Overlord, the hacking group, the 9/11 files, I would really encourage you to check this out. I think that these documents are some of the most important and underreported on out there. If anybody has any more information that I did not cover via the Dark Overlord, I'd love to do an update all these years later. I would also love to get access to layers 4 and 5, which were never put out there. So with that being said, we're going to kick it up to Krista in the booth. The Dark Overlord files, go check them out over at RVMRumble.com.